I'm very pleased to introduce Professor Leslie Chenoweth. Professor Leslie Chenoweth will be the session facilitator. She's the Pro Vice-Chancellor and Head of Campus at Griffith University at Logan, and she'll be speaking to us today about the importance of STEM, incorporating that into the school curriculum as a driver, as a supporter of innovation. And I'll allow Professor Leslie Chenoweth to introduce her colleagues. So could we please give a warm welcome to the stage to Professor Leslie Chenoweth. Thank you so much.
Okay, we just adjust the height issue here. Okay, so welcome everybody to a stellar panel. Isn't this a fabulous panel we've got? Yay! Now, have we got any educators in the room? Where are those school principals who were talking up the back? Oh, there they are. Thank you. Present. So we've got a very short session, but what we're going to address in this with my stellar panel that I will introduce in a minute is the whole issue around education. What we've heard already is if we're going to build an innovation economy, education is key to that journey. Absolutely key that we have people with the knowledge and the skills to translate all that creativity and ideas into innovation and entrepreneurship in a community. So we're going to hear from our panel members. They're going to share with you some of their stories. That is from we've tried to get a range of perspectives. The other key thing to this panel, and you've already heard this morning, is if we are in the business of developing an innovation community, you have to have strong collaboration. This is about people working together, and I think the stories will illustrate that. So, can I first introduce our panel? And you'll have to put your hands up because I've got you down in this order. So, Stacey King. Stacey King is a legendary STEM teacher. She's from Maple Park State High, Australian Maths Teacher of the Year 2016. Woo! And she's Head of Maths Science and Virtual Schooling at Maple Park. So then we'll have Kate. So Kate Thompson. Kate's from Griffith University. She's a senior lecturer, and her whole area is she's developed exciting technologies curriculum and some wonderful innovations around education. So we'll hear from Kate. Yeah, go Kate. Cheryl, the fabulous Cheryl Desha from the Griffith School of Engineering and an adjunct at QUT. Now Cheryl, she is an amazing teacher of engineering, and she's going to talk a bit about her incredible curriculum that she's developed as well. And finally, my wonderful colleague Celeste Alcaraz, who's working with me and others. We are collaborating, building the Glow at Logan Innovation Hub on Logan campus. Thank you, Celeste. Okay, so we've already had the session cut down to half an hour. So let's get right into it. Stacey, now you play a really critical role in STEM at Maple Park High. And one of the themes of this is about starting early. So what have you found really important from your experience?
Sure, thanks Leslie, and good afternoon to all of you. Listen, I'm very teacher-like. I have got some notes to keep me on point, I'm afraid. Listen, the first thing that high schools need to do to innovate and to create that culture is to actually start. So
That's innovative.
that's actually a really, do something. So what I did is I'm from a school just down the road behind IKEA, because everyone knows where IKEA is. And I'm in a pocket of Logan with the most social disadvantage. We have over 40 cultures. Our socio-economic indicator is very low, that score that they use. We have 3 generations worth of unemployment, families of unemployment. We have every social barrier known to impact our school. But I decided to start somewhere, and I'm glad I did. So the next thing is you need to shift your paradigm. So you have to have a completely new mindset. So I guess the way I did this is up is now down and down is now up. So everything I do is new, different. I'm going to give it a go. And the thing about giving it a go and starting somewhere is when you start to create partnerships with people, you don't fail, you succeed. Because your partners won't let you fail and they'll help you find solutions. So at no point did I feel that taking risks and doing something different, because what we've done at Mabel, there's no blueprint. There's no one has done some of the things that we've done before in the way that we've done them for our type of clientele. So your partners won't let you fail, but that's the key. At our school, it's about relationships. If the relationships are solid, that's the foundation. So we decided to take the risks and to just forge ahead. Now, one of the examples that we did, Leslie, is I decided to not just work with my school, but to work with my primary schools, because they were in the same boat as I was. And worse in a way, they're underfunded, overworked, they've got a lot of issues that they're dealing with. So we decided to start a primary science partnership where we work intensively with 5 schools now. We've grown in 3 years to 5 schools. And the only real funding I use to do that is some changing in mindset where the principal funds a whole teacher to be able to support that. So yes, a whole teacher is expensive, but you think the impact we're having in 5 schools on all those classrooms. By changing that mindset about how you use staff and allocate staff, we've been able to have that effect in the early years. Our early years are the most crucial because that's when students get the love and the passion for STEM. That's when they start to break down stereotypes and you can start to get them believing in themselves, building that confidence. And it's about also the high school playing an active role in making that happen in those primary schools because they can't do it alone either. The last thing we've done, sorry to take up time, but there's a lot of things to get through. We've started a STEM network of 13 high schools in Logan. So rather than all of us working independently in our own little bubble, we've decided that we need to actually have some force and some common goals that we work together. I've done that, created that STEM network with the help of my mentor and my colleague, Peter Ann McNaught, who's our Enable Project Officer. And I'm going to hand it over to her to explain that partnership because that actually is one of the most crucial things about the work that I do.
Okay. Come on down, Peter Ann.
Okay. I'll stand, shall I?
Yes, stand.
Yes, we've been lucky in our high schools in Logan. We have 13 high schools in our partnership who fund my role as a project officer to work on a variety of different levels. In the STEM partnership, we work with our high schools, heads of department across a whole range of different faculties, maths, science, engineering, technology. And we've been able to create a cluster of schools of like-minded people who are interested in doing dynamic things in their schools to make a difference and to also show students what particular things are out there in the future and what possibilities they could have. We're trying to cater for kids to give them a range of different ideas for the future, knowing that most of the careers of the future aren't even invented yet, so they really need to be 21st century learners. We can use the curriculum that we've got, but we also need to work with universities and with other local businesses to show them a range of different opportunities that will exist in the future as well and give them ideas. And we could have one of our students working in a 1-bedroom apartment with a jewellery business online with a 3D printer. So there's so many entrepreneurial things that we need to be encouraging our kids to have these skills for. So working together with a whole range of different educators, we're trying to make all these different partnerships evolve and show our kids different opportunities for the future, which fits in with our whole Logan model of innovation as well. And we've been able to work with Leslie and Celeste, and we had a fantastic collaboration last year, which they will explain.
Celeste's going to talk about that. Thank you, Peter Ann. So, so important to have curriculum and exciting teachers around STEM. So I'm going to go to Kate now. And Kate, you convene a program in STEAM. So this is STEM Plus. And can you tell us a bit about that? And why is that important? How, in terms of preparing teachers?
Yeah, sure. So we have a brand new program around STEAM education to prepare educators. And it picks up on a lot of the things that Stacey was just saying, a lot of the skills that teachers and educators need in order to innovate in their own practice, in order to develop these programs are around collaboration, are around problem solving, complex problem solving. And so the idea that we could just have teachers do this with no training is slightly crazy. So what we want to do and what we're aiming to do with this is provide teachers with space to be able to have these ideas, to be able to plan through, and some of the infrastructure that they need to push it through. So I don't know about you guys, anytime I work with students or teachers, getting them to have ideas is not the problem. Giving them enough space to be able to figure out how that idea could move forward and become a real thing, and having the support of their network to be able to do that is what everybody needs. So this program that we have is new graduate certificates, fantastic. They get to choose a whole lot of electives. It can be professional learning, it can be courses from within Griffith that we've selected that are all a bit exciting and edgy. And then the main course that brings it all together involves all of them working together to co-create units of work. We give them lots of opportunities to do this. We give them time to practice teaching, co-teaching, co-designing, and look at what they would be using as evidence of whether this has actually worked in the classroom. We do a lot around STEAM education at Griffith at the moment. We've got after-school clubs around STEAM. We've got projects working with whole networks of schools, and all of that is around making connections within the classroom and between teachers and between schools, and with researchers, so that we can help teachers access the information that they need, or that specialist information that they need at the right time.
Great. So, okay, so they've been through Stacey's fabulous high school education, using Kate's and her colleagues' amazing curriculum, and now they've hit the university and they're going to be engineers. So, Cheryl, you're an engineer.
Not just engineers, they're going to be civil engineers.
Oh, civil engineers. Okay. So, Cheryl,
engineer,
you've
that's
done
all right.
a whole lot of innovation around how do we teach and train engineers. Civil engineers. I hope all those local authorities are listening to this. Take it
Leslie.
away.
Right, so I think my key points here are around the space for engineering going forward, because most of you in the room will have someone in your family who's been an engineer, right? Either a dad or a grandfather, maybe a mum or a grandmother. And the journey for me at the moment is bringing civil engineering to Nathan campus at Griffith, and inside of that, reimagining what engineering actually looks like. So I've had a really great adventure over the last 6 months doing a helicopter, talking to all sorts of students and colleagues, and internationally having a look at unis to see how it is they innovate to get students acting differently as professionals. Mm-hmm. And what I've seen has been slightly scary, and it's required a couple of colleagues to literally bang my head against the wall a few times to get me out of my comfort zone as an engineer and look to a related field, a bit of a distant cousin, spatial information technology. And the world over there, which is kind of the other side of the fence, has blown me away. Just gets me so excited. I feel like I'm doing another master's myself. The community of spatial information technology professionals and the community of engineering professionals just haven't talked much in the past, particularly about planet, right? So sustainable development, there's a world of stuff going on in spatial and a world of stuff going on in engineering and environment. They just have it mixed. So I'm having a lot of fun with that, with a digital earth outlook. So our education, we've just got a digital earth minor inside the engineering degree program, which is uber exciting, working with Japan, Chuba University, who stares in the face of catastrophe every day. Nagoya's like 70 years overdue for its earthquake. Tokyo's 100 years overdue for its earthquake. Their lecturers and engineers get up every day and think, I wonder if today's going to be it. Every 2 weeks they have planning meetings around this stuff. You know, over here we're like, oh my gosh, disaster, who would have thought? They're like, oh my goodness, disaster, let's make sure we're prepared. And in 2 weeks' time it'll be a different plan to what it'll be in a month's time, because life changes, so the plans keep changing. That philosophy to get into our students' mindset as engineers, unbelievable. So Digital Earth, nature-loving cities, or biophilic urbanism, as being the next frontier in how we engage environmental issues within the teaching agenda. And energy efficiency, because if you can't afford to pay your bills, you're stuck. And that's regardless of whether you're a mum, dad at home, or whether you're a university trying to cover the overheads on a lot of buildings, Leslie. I heard the bill the other day. It's pretty ridiculous.
Pretty high.
So fitting out infrastructure, we've got a great adventure in about a year of having a new building on Nathan campus. So we're giving facilities management a headache every day in terms of innovation.
More of
on
that.
how you kit out buildings for simulation studios, augmented reality studios, disaster and resilience management facility inside the building where we can be working with government, and a green roof to be able to have that show and tell around what's possible. And we're last point, Commonwealth Games coming up. Fabulous opportunity to actually engage students in the community in capacity building and education around STEM, yeah? So we've just found out we get 8 interns in January, engineering students working on waste, and being able to track waste at the Games and have a conversation about how patrons and the Games facilities themselves are managing that around the event. So really exciting. Yeah.
Thank you, Cheryl. So, some very exciting developments in education and curriculum and the whole experience of learning. So, the other key thing we've been stressing, of course, is this issue around collaboration. And I'm going to ask Celeste now. So, we've been working for some time now, collaborating with a whole range of people around how do we actually excite school kids and everyone around innovative thinking. So Celeste, do you want to tell us a bit about how we've worked with all those multiple stakeholders to get up the innovation challenge for year 9s?
Okay.
Tell them a bit about
Sorry,
the
I'm
challenge.
not a big microphone fan. So, in the last, I guess 2015, we initiated discussions. How can we cultivate innovation in the Logan region? And our first initial venture was to create a co-working building. So that's come into fruition at Griffith University Logan campus. We're expecting that to be completed, hopefully, fingers crossed, in the next couple of months. But this is a place where community, our students, high school students and other people can come in and undertake innovative endeavours. But I guess last year, and this is with the Enable group, we did initiate... do you want to expand?
No,
I'm
you.
nervous. I'm nervous.
Okay. So Celeste was the driver, working with people like Peter Ann and Stacey and others. So we decided we'd have a bit of a go. Like you. Well, why don't we start? So we organised an innovation challenge for year 9 in November, when every high school is wanting to get rid of their year 9s off the building. So we had a lot of take-up. So how many teams did we have, Celeste?
We had 60 students.
60 students.
From 8 different schools from the region. So they did work in teams of 4. We did give them a scenario in health. One was related to a scenario with a person with multiple sclerosis, the other one vision impairment, and the third issue was reducing social exclusion of the elderly. So, pardon me, we did give them a scenario. They had to go away and research prior to the event. On day one, they came to campus all day.
Microphone.
Oh, microphone. That's what I don't like, is the microphone.
She doesn't.
This is what makes me nervous. So on day one, they came to campus for a whole day, and this is where we incorporated business into the actual curriculum. It was a whole day of brainstorming, learning the business model canvas, so that's their introduction to the lean startup method. They also learnt about developing consumer personas, which is so very important in the business environment at the moment, but in marketing and everything and so forth. Then they actually presented their ideas to go into finals for day 2 and 3. They were fantastic presentations. These kids, Year 9 kids, actually put some of my postgraduates to the test.
shame.
Yeah, it was amazing. So the finalists went on to Maple Park State High School STEM Hub, where they did get to prototype using drones, 3D printers and robotics, and also code. And they spent 2 days at the high school with Peter and Stacey, mentors from the region, also small business owners from the region. So lots of mentorship, lots of collaboration, lots of networking, and they came out with some really amazing ideas. One of the prizes was, further development, and that was with Tony Sharp and Substation 33 and Global Sisters, so to move it forward. So it was a really great event. We're going to hold that this year as well and move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this was an exercise in basically having a go, but it was very, very successful. And what it demonstrated, of course, is there's no shortage of great ideas. These kids just need the opportunity and they need some tools and frameworks. So that's what happened. They solved amazing problems. They came up with they also had to develop a pitch and they had to cost out their invention and do a pitch for how would they market it, how would they test it with consumers. And these were Year 9 kids who delivered. So I think we have to actually change that mindset of are these kids, do we have kids who can be innovative? There is no question about that. Last year we ran GovHack on the Logan campus and we had a range of people who come up. GovHack is where people get to play with data and they get to solve problems or come up with innovations. We had 2 Logan primary school kids rock up. And they said, can we do this? We didn't have a protocol. How do you let kids do this? But we worked out a protocol very quickly. We were very innovative at the moment. And those 2 kids, one was in Year 5 from a Logan primary school. They won their age category for Queensland. And then they went to Canberra and they won the national prize for their innovation for this country. So kids here have the ideas. We just need to be providing the opportunities because innovative ideas, there's no shortage. It's how do we actually provide the tools, how do we channel that and then provide these opportunities. So what this is about is how do we start to build an ecosystem of innovation and incubate these ideas. And I sort of feel, are we at the preschool level or where do you think we are? Cheryl, where do you think we are?
I find myself saying often we're babies in nappies, that, that we're barely learning how to walk in terms of getting aware of our surroundings in terms of what's possible, yeah? So the next step is actually just learning how to walk and the kinds of I'm baby in nappies. I think what Stacey and Pam Ann have done are far more advanced team, right? But in any case, I think it's early days. And you know what? The whole notion around failing is something that our culture really struggles with.
Yep.
And it's great to learn from failure and just celebrate the fact that we had a go. And I love hearing stories about what worked, and I'm always keen to say what didn't work and what did you learn, because when we celebrate the fact that we had a go and we learned a lesson from something that didn't work, I think it encourages other people to actually have a go.
Yeah. So Sorry, Celeste, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say, I guess the particularly with the schools competition, but also these co-working ventures, we're getting multiple disciplines and multiple, different areas of business together, and that was quite prevalent with the competition. I mean, we had business, we had health, we had ICT, we had industrial design and engineering, all working together. And you'll find some of the principles do actually overlap, but you can also extend from learning from the other disciplines, which is and also in business as well, which is this sort of thing is really great, that we do come from different areas and we can share each other's knowledge, because we don't know everything. We only learn from each other. That's I guess my mantra to my students as well, is I don't know everything. I need to learn from you. So I think great movement forward.
Yep. So, Kate, on the journey, so some of us are in nappies and some of us are, obviously maybe in grade 3. What do you think we need to do next? If we're going to build this innovative community, what do you think we need to be working on?
Well,
I'll just throw that at you.
Yeah, thanks. So I have a problem myself in that I think we should be doing all of it all at the same time. But I think that if we can look at least within education as the entire system. So we have this problem within education that we silo. We silo within a school, and we silo the different year levels. So there's early years, and there's primary and secondary, and then tertiary. And one of the nice innovations in education at the moment is around data, and data is like technology is pushing this change. But to see a learner as a connected person that goes through all of these different systems, and so if teachers can start to work together and educators can start to work together to make sure that what you're doing as a child is as relevant as you go through, and that you're helping people see those connections the whole way through, then we have a much better chance of getting students coming to us at university who are used to collaborating, who are used to experiencing new ideas, who are used to explaining their own perspective. So that was a core skill that we've found in some of our research. It's not only that you need to be able to listen and collaborate and all the rest, you need to be able to explain your ideas in a way that other people can connect with.
That's right.
So that doesn't happen quickly. That needs a lifetime to get to the point of doing that in your life as a grown-up adult.
Okay. So, Stacey, who do you think we need to start to get involved in this?
Well, I just want to say, just to touch on a little bit about the curriculum. If you come into my classroom, there are no textbooks. I teach mathematics at junior. We have a think lounge. We have another lounge. We have bean bags. We have flexible chairs and desks. We can go outside into the lovely sunshine, grassed area. We can go to a courtyard. Students don't actually sit by isolation. It's all collaboration. The other day we had Donna Pentecost come from the School of Education to our school, and we walked down, the deputy principal said, I bet you sometimes when you walk around, the science and maths students are drawing over the windows and all over the footpath. And sure enough, we walk around the corner, there's a bunch of students drawing on the footpath. So it's all about collaboration within the curriculum as well. So that is a model that should be sustained. But how I see it working is the work that Peter, Anne and I are doing with the high schools. We're drawing together. We're going to then draw our primary schools together, and then we can work with the universities and with businesses and government. But it's going to take all of us being mindful of each other and remembering each other. I come from a school that for many years people didn't know where we were or what we did or who we were, what we were about. We're this little unpolished gem. And it's because people weren't mindful to get on the phone or email and say, oh, by the way, this opportunity is coming up. So the first thing is for all of us here today to remember each other and to actually start to think, you know what, there's no one who's done this before, but I've got an idea. And then you've got to find that person who can then find that person who can then find that person.
Yeah. So, a terrific last kind of point is really that whole issue that we have enormous resources and we have great creativity. It's just how do we connect? How do we harness that? And this is very possible. I think this is a great event to have brought together a whole range of different people with different ideas. And what we've tried to do is just share with you some very amazing stories that are in this community, that are undertaken by amazing people, but that have actually made a difference. They have really started to really make an impact. So I hope that you will join in on the journey. Education is key. And just one other subtle message is this is an all-women panel. So, and this is about innovation can't be gendered. This is about everyone in. And I think it's testimony to Girls in STEM rock. So I want to thank our panel members individually, all together, and thank you all for your attention. Let us go forth and innovate. Thank you.